So that affects the media industry in the sense that customers, once they subscribe or they buy a newspaper, that is just the first cost that they incur. Then they have to incur an additional effort and time costs to first decide, one, which are the news articles that I'm going to read? And so they have to browse and try to make that decision. Second, once they identified a news piece, they have to read it. And then third, they have to make sense of it, try to understand what is in this article and how should I change my mind going forward regarding this topic, right? And media companies generally are in the business of sort of delivering these articles and not really thinking about how they should choose or how they should sort of update their mental models of the stories. This is where, for example, Facebook helps them a lot. Facebook helps in the sense that other people have read the articles and will recommend them. So media companies should think about recommendation systems in ways, how can you help your readers to evaluate what to read? Sometimes your friends are good ways to decide, sometimes they're not, but media companies have not traditionally thought too much about that, right? And then the last one is, help me integrate. Once I read this, how can I reduce my effort and time costs in terms of updating my views on the world? And so these are areas in which sort of newspapers can really think about improving, not just getting you to buy. They're too focused on getting you to subscribe or buy a newspaper, and that's missing the point. So decoupling is essentially separating, a series of activities into two. One in which the disruptor will execute, and the other rest, the disruptor will say, let the established player do it, right? So Facebook says, we will do the distribution and we'll let you create the news. We don't want to do that, right? That's decoupling. Once you separate from the news media's point of view, there's two alternatives to respond to decoupling. One is recouple. For example, not letting Facebook distribute news. Just say, this is my news and nobody else can distribute it apart from me. Unfortunately, that goes against the needs and wants of the customer. They're changing behavior. People like you and me want to share the news with others in social media. The alternative that I mostly advocate is to rebalance. Rebalance means letting the disruptor do what they want to do on behalf of the customer. But make sure you coexist peacefully and you make money every time you create value. So if you're creating content, you should make sure to figure out who can pay for the content you create, regardless of whether you distribute it or not, or Facebook distributes it or not. So you go through your supply chain of activities and make sure every time you create value, you capture value to avoid what I call leakage, which is leaving money on the table for other disruptive companies to make money out of that.